Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report, presented by 5v5hockey.com.
Yo, welcome back to the Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report. Today, we're going to do something a little fun. As you know, Bobo and I, we use CAPFRIENDLY a lot. And that's something where we're looking at the contract situations. We're looking at the salary cap, free agency, things like that. Some of the fun things that you can actually do on this site, a little bit of interactivity. And one of them is, well, there's a trade machine, which is fun in itself. People comment and call you an idiot if you put in a stupid trade request, which is mostly what will happen. But there's also the Armchair GM mode. Now, that's something that I am going to be putting one out before the draft and free agency of what I would do if I was Steve Yzerman. Probably what won't happen, but what I could see happening. Now, a lot of people do these just like I am. I'm not saying I know more, but there are a lot out there that people have no idea what's going on. You're a fan of your team, and I've stated this before. People of their own fan base will most likely overrate their own players, their own prospects, what they're actually worth. And it's a flip side on the opposite is we'll look at a player on a different team that's not Detroit and go, oh, we could get this guy for a third round pick. And then another team's fans will go, hell no, we're not giving that up. So it's one of these things where it's really fun to go through. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to go randomly. There's somewhere it might be the Red Wings full roster. There might be somewhere it's just a trade or two where the Red Wings are included. So without further ado, let's jump into these. Let's see how mad I get. All right, so first up, we have an Edmonton Oilers roster called Hope. And that's probably what they need at this point instead of trying to sign guys and make trades is they just have to hope that they're better this year. There is a Red Wings trade in here. I don't really care about what the Oilers do. We're just going to break down just the Red Wings deals. So let's kind of scroll down in here to see what second round pick for Cody Ceci. I don't want Cody Ceci, okay? I'm pretty sure he's a left-hand defenseman. Let's look at his cap hit real quick here. So he's making 3.25 for the next few years. I don't like Cody Ceci. He is not worth a second round pick to me. Looking at these trades always makes me laugh because this is what I'm talking about. A second round pick for Cody Ceci is just asinine. So absolutely no shot that the Red Wings will actually go for this because we got a logjam on the left side. And I just don't like Cody Ceci as a player. And this is where it's really funny where you look at some of the Red Wings fans that come on here. This guy's got 7,000 posts. Detroit doesn't even take that call. Insanely hard pass. It's so funny to look at these. So yeah, absolutely. For me, I totally agree. Hard pass, no shot. Next up, we have a Calgary proposal, and we're going to go down, and this is what you're going to see a ton of. A third-round pick for Dan Vladar. Now, this is something where I've talked about this in a previous video about what the Red Wings could be going for, trades, free agency, what have you. Dan Vladar is somebody that I think the Flames are going to want to get rid of. They have Dustin Wolf coming up. There's going to be a logjam of goalies. So Vladar probably doesn't have a spot. Third-round pick is not a lot to give up to get Dan Vladar. As I said previously, Alex Nedeljkovic was traded for a third-round pick, and so was Ville Husso. So this could be the third time that Steve Yzerman pulls off a third-rounder for Dan Vladar. This is something where I would consider it for sure. Here is an interesting one. It's a three-way trade. This is an Edmonton Oilers roster. So this is Erik Karlsson going to the Oilers with the Red Wings being an in-between from the Sharks to Edmonton, retaining $2.5 million in salary and picking up the 4th overall pick. Now, what they're giving up is their first rounder this year at 9 and a second rounder. Now they have 3. So they're moving up to number 4. Okay, so they're going to have number 4 and they're going to have number 17. So I like that part of moving up in the draft to pick in the top 5. That rarely happens, but in this world, in this guy's world, it does. So, okay, so we're looking at $2.5 million retained, probably for I think the next 3 or 4 years is Karlsson's contract. Is it worth moving up that far? We're going to see. So now Karlsson gets flipped to the Oilers and the Red Wings pick up Philip Broberg, who was a first-round pick defenseman prospect. Cody Ceci, who I've already said I don't like. So that's more salary on the table there. Raphael Lavoie, RFA rights. I'm fine. I'll take a prospect. And now we're going to get a second-round pick back. Okay, so I'm cool with that. It's a little bit later, but we're getting our second-round pick back. And we're going to get Edmonton's first-round pick next season. And we're seeing now, after that, Broberg, a first, and that second goes to San Jose. So it's a 3-way trade. Okay. So at the end of the day, the Red Wings are coming away with the 4th overall pick and Cody Ceci, Raphael Lavoie. You're moving up to 4. It's something you have to consider. Like if that's a trade up and this is the cost, I might be doing that. Interesting. It's one of those things where Carlson's name has been out there. Do the Red Wings go for him? I don't think they should. He's not really he's all offense. He's not defense. We've talked about him as well. But 4th overall, might do it. I might do it. Here's an Arizona Coyotes trade. Let's look at what they're offering us. There's a bunch of trades here. Okay, this one's interesting. Lawson Crouse for a 2nd-round pick and a 3rd-round pick in 24 and 25, so a couple years down the line. Now, if I was going to make a move, I probably would use one of the 2nd-round picks this year rather than giving up a 2024 because we have a plethora of them, so why not? Lawson Crouse. I want to look up his stats. So here's Lawson Crouse's player card. 69% wins above replacement, average offense, decently good on even strength defense. Finishes, he's not a special teams player. So if I'm getting a 2nd, a 3rd from him, but here's what the thing is. Look at this. 4.5 mil for 4 years. I ain't taking that. No shot. I have a Carolina Hurricanes trade here. This one is interesting because it's Veleno and Zadina going to Carolina, and the Red Wings pick up Jalen Chatfield, who's a defenseman, and I think he's a right-hand D, and a 3rd-round pick from Carolina in 2024. This is something that I'm not sure if the Red Wings are forced to do this trade. They don't have to move Zadina or Veleno. I actually like Chatfield. He did play for the Spitfires, hometown. I don't really follow them at all, but he is a good defenseman. He's younger. Maybe it's something where I would just flip one of these guys for Chatfield, but I feel like I can find someone else better without giving anything up. I mean, free agency is tough. We're going to have to probably find a trade to find a right-hand D. I just don't know if I'm ready to give up on these 2 guys yet because they still have term. I mean, Veleno's going to get signed. Zadina still has a year or 2 left where he's very, very cheap, and he doesn't really have that much value. So, I don't even think Carolina would say yes to this. And if I'm Detroit, I'd think about it. This is an LA Kings trade where Victor Arvidsson goes to the Red Wings along with a 6th-round pick, and the Kings get a 2nd-rounder back. It's the Vancouver one. And this is an interesting one. Victor Arvidsson only has a year left on his deal, and he had a pretty decent season. Look at the stats here. I mean, he had 77 games played, 26 goals, 33 assists, 59 points. That's pretty good, but he's going to be unrestricted. So you're looking at kind of a rental type player. I'm not sure if Steve Yzerman's going to be looking to do a move like this, because then you're going to have to look at signing Arvidsson long-term or for longer. I don't know if that's a guy that Yzerman would look at and go, yeah, we could sign him for more. This is an easily acceptable trade. It's not like the value is off, in my opinion, but it's just more of, is Arvidsson a guy that's going to fit going forward on this team? And if the answer is no, then I'm not taking this deal. Just saw a few more. Dan Vladar to Detroit for 3rd-rounder. So that seems to be very, very popular with everybody. So anytime I see Calgary and Detroit, I just kind of assume it's going to be Vladar. This one is a big trade here. It's Alex DeBrincat going to Detroit. Now, this is a big payment. So the Red Wings are getting Angus Crookshank, who I don't know who that is. Lassie Thompson, not sure. Alex DeBrincat. That's the biggest one. Now, going back the other way, it's Jonathan Berggren, the 17th overall pick, and a 2nd-rounder. So the sign-in trade, obviously Detroit would sign him probably an 8-year extension. This is probably slightly accurate. I don't know if I would want to trade Jonathan Berggren because I really like him as a player. I want to see what he develops into. I like Alex DeBrincat, and I think that's a guy that the Wings absolutely should take a swing at. But if they can try to do something where, they don't move on from Jonathan Berggren, if they give up the first and the 2nd, I would do this trade for sure. If Berggren's in there just because this Thompson and Crookshank, then take him out. Let's just do DeBrincat for a 1st and a 2nd. I don't know if there's going to be that much leverage for the Senators to be like, oh, okay, we're going to hold out. It's like, he is RFA, but if he wants out and he's not going to sign, get what you can for him. So getting a 17th overall pick for him, straight up, is pretty damn good too. Senators fans have to realize you're not going to get even if it's not to Detroit, you're not going to get back what you gave up for him last year. And it was a steep payment last year. It would basically be like if they asked for the 9th overall pick. That's where I'd be like, probably not. So you're a little bit tied here, but I would love to have Alex DeBrincat on the team. If you just do a first and a second, I accept it. This one is called My Take on a Bruins Lineup. So we got a Boston move here. This is interesting. We're moving Jonathan Berggren again. We just talked about him to the Bruins for a first round pick from Nashville. Now, this pick is 15th overall. And if you're going to actually look up here, they have a weird Taylor Hall move where that first rounder goes to the Bruins. They're flipping first rounders all over the place. This is obviously not going to happen. This is interesting, though. Berggren for the 15th overall pick. I mean, man, you'd really have to think about it. The Wings would be walking, they'd have 3 first round picks. This is something where like it's not really going to happen, because if you're going to move Jonathan Berggren, you're going to probably get DeBrincat, right? To get another first round pick sounds nice. That would be interesting to see what would they do with this first round pick, because now you have 3. Now you have a plethora of moves that you can make. Is Jonathan Berggren worth the 15th overall pick? To me, like, I love Berggren, but just for in terms of what he's worth, I don't think so. I don't think Boston would give up a first round pick just for him. If I'm the Red Wings, I'd seriously consider this. Obviously, it's not going to happen. Now, here is an actual Red Wings roster. We're going to look through all of these just to see what happens. And it might be close to what I have, but we'll find out. Here's some moves we're going to make. Wow, we're going all out here, aren't we? So free agent signings. Now, obviously, we're going to trade for DeBrincat. We're going to look at that. They re-signed Veleno, a couple of years, 1.7 mil. Makes sense. Gustav Lindstrom isn't coming back. So this one's just not going to happen because he's going to Sweden. Ivan Barbashev, 5 years, 5.7. That is steep. I do like Ivan Barbashev to put him in that middle 6 or even your top 6. I liked how he played in the playoffs. Has a little grit to him. Radko Gudas. I've had conversations with some people that hate Radko Gudas because he ended Franzen's career. I'm sorry, I like Franzen. I don't give a shit. Can you help me now? 2 years, 2.7 mil. He has really good defensive stats. You go and watch the video that we did with looking through all the players that I thought the Wings could look at. His defensive stats were actually very good. And now, yeah, he's a tough guy too, but it's a right-hand D. We're going to have to sign at least one. Oliver Moore, is they're creating him. I think they thinking they're going to take him 9th overall. This is interesting because I don't think this gets done at all. Brett Pesce to the Red Wings. Yeah, I would really like that too. For Ben Sherratt with salary retained, Emil Viro, a second and a second. That's not going to happen. The Hurricanes are going to laugh at you. Like, that's an awful trade offer. Whoever made this, there's no shot, Pesce. You're giving up one of your first rounders, 100%. You're going to give up 17, right? But you can't, because in this one, you gave it up for DeBrincat. You're moving Cross-Hannes, Kubalik, a first and a second. That actually might get it done. I don't know if I want to move Kubalik, but then again, you're getting DeBrincat, signing him to an 8 by 8.5. That sounds fair. He's right under Larkin. You play on that top line, and then I think Kubalik would get knocked down. Here's one with the Leafs. We're picking up Matt Murray in a cap dump. We're giving up our second round pick, but we're getting the 31st overall pick and a 4th rounder to take on Matt Murray's contract. That's something that might happen. Like, again, the Wings aren't really going to, they're not going for it this year, but Matt Murray, throwing him as a backup, I'm not a fan of him. I'll just say that right now. I'm not a fan of Matt Murray. He gets hurt way too much. He's not worth it. But if I'm going to get a first round pick, the thing that kind of sucks with this, where you have to realize this second round pick that the Red Wings are moving and the first round pick they're getting from Boston, they're moving up like 10 spots in the draft. I don't think that's worth Matt Murray's contract. So let's look at what their lineup looks like here. So DeBrincat, Larkin, and Raymond, that's a really good first line. Barbashev with Kopp and Berggren. Now, in my opinion, Kopp wouldn't be my second liner center, but we'll go through that when I do mine. Rasmussen, Marco Kasper, David Perron. In my opinion, I don't think Marco Kasper is going to start the year in Detroit, but I understand, this is where he probably could end up. And then we got Robbie Fabry, Joe Veleno, and Philip Zadina. Now, Fabry to me should be playing higher in the lineup. Again, he's hurt. He's going to have to earn those spots, so I understand it. And then we'll have Husso with Matt Murray. And then we have Jake Wallman, Moritz Seider, Simon Edvinsson. He's starting the year on injured reserve, so let's just keep that in mind. But Edvinsson with Brett Pesce, that would be an awesome pair as well. Oli Mata with Radko Gudas. Yeah, I'm taking that as well. So it's pretty good, but I don't think this is something where like they can actually pull this off. Brett Pesce, again, you're gonna have to re-sign him to a big deal too at 28 years old. So you're not getting him unless you give up a first round pick. Very interesting though. I like some of the creativity trying to take on Murray's contract, but I want more than that. I mean, if I'm being honest, I would change this to like take out the 4th round, make this a 3rd rounder, and then maybe we can talk about it because now we're moving up a full round. That might be worth 1 year of Matt Murray's $4 million. Cross Hannes, I can live without Kubalik to upgrade to DeBrincat. Sure. Giving up this 17th overall is just, I think that's just what you're going to have to do. But this first trade is just not realistic at all. I'd love to get rid of Ben Sherratt. I would. This just isn't going to happen. This is a Toronto Maple Leafs one called Realistic Rebuild. We'll see how realistic it is. Our Red Wings trade here is that they're giving up Matt Murray and Alex Steeves. Now, I don't know who Alex Steeves is. That's a problem. So I can't even really look at this and go, hey, who is this guy? This is what we do. We go down in the comments and see what people are saying. What's the realistic part? Wings obviously decline. Okay, we're not taking Murray for a damn AHLer. I guess he's an AHL. Why is it titled realistic? That Detroit trade is not realistic at all. They're just tearing them apart. Oh man, that's hilarious. Leafs added Nylander to make it more realistic. This is so funny because like people like to say they think this is realistic. I don't know who Alex Steve. I mean, he's got decent AHL stats, but I don't care. Give me some picks like the one we talked about before to take Matt Murray to get a draft pick back. Like that's something I'd rather do than this random prospect. This one's called Around Again. It's a Philadelphia Flyers roster. This one's interesting. We've talked about Carter Hart and would he be a fit for Detroit? I said yes. Here's the trade. It's Carter Hart and Samu Tuomala. No idea who that is. For William Wallander, who's one of our better defensive prospects, 17th overall pick, and our 2nd rounder. That is a steep price. To me, that's almost as steep as getting Alex DeBrincat. So I think that's something where like I would shy away from that. We need Alex DeBrincat way more than we need Carter Hart. I think there's some goalies out there that we could look at in free agency. And the more that I look at it, that I would plug the hole for a year or two until Sebastian Cossa is ready. I don't know if I want to spend that much draft capital in a prospect of William Wallander's talent on a guy like Carter Hart. It's tempting though, because it's like, all right, now you have another stud goalie to play with Husso. You don't have to, like, even with Cossa needs a few more years. And here's something, he might not be the guy that we think he is. I hope he is. Carter Hart is an elite goalie. Getting him for this would make sense. The only reason it doesn't make sense is I think the Red Wings are using these picks to go after Alex DeBrincat. Let's do a few more for fun. This one's a Pittsburgh Penguins one. It's called If We Were GMs. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing right now. The Red Wings one, let's see. A 7th round pick for a 7th round pick. Now, let's break this. Let's break this down. 7th round pick, Detroit, and a 7th round pick for Ottawa. We're moving down in the draft. No, it's a 2024. Dude, we could see this. Look, they're just making a deal so more people click on this. This guy's brilliant. But what are we going to do? Want upgrade. They want upgrades, man. Look at this. Want upgrade is like all over the lineup. Want upgrade, 3rd line center, right winger, left wing on the 2nd line, left wing, 3rd line, starting in net. Oh my God. I mean, look, he's a 2nd line pair defense. Want upgrade is one of the best upgrades you could get. Okay, so here's another DeBrincat trade. Let's break this one down. It's very, very similar. It's Berggren. That's 17th overall, a 2nd rounder. This one, we're getting Alex DeBrincat, and we're getting Jacob Bernard-Docker, who was a 1st round pick a few years ago. He's a defenseman. This one, I would say, is more intriguing than the one we were talking about because we're getting like an actual prospect defenseman back. We talked about it, man. Like, you're going to have to give up something to get Alex DeBrincat. I really don't want to give up Jonathan Berggren. Of the 2 trades that we've broken down so far with Alex DeBrincat in, this is one that I like more. This is a Red Wings called We Need Michkov. So they're clearly trading up. Let's see if this is realistic at all. We've got a 1st round pick, Arizona, for the a 2nd, a 2nd, and a 4th. Montreal takes Reinbacher at 5. Hence, Arizona is okay with moving down. Will Smith, 4th, Reinbacher, 5th. I don't think that's realistic. Well, maybe. I mean, if Michkov falls, now this is what they're saying. If he falls to 6, call up Arizona, say, hey, let's move up. So going from number 9 to 6, we're giving up 2 seconds and a fourth. Like, you might be able to pull that off. Is that something that I would do to get a guy like Matvei Michkov? Here's the thing. If anybody talks about prospects and says that they know what they're talking about, they're bullshitting you. They have no idea. You know what they've done? They've looked at a YouTube video that is 2.5 minutes long of a highlight reel package of Matvei Michkov dangling around and scoring in the Russian Junior League. They're not scouts, okay? If you don't scout players and all you're doing is looking at, ooh, I like how this guy plays. We've learned our lesson, okay? Remember Filip Zadina? He still has some time, but 6th overall, I was so happy that they picked him up. So happy. And look at him now. I thought he was going to be like a 30-goal scorer. He can't even play 30 games. And then look at Mo Seider. He was ranked like 26th overall in the first round, goes 6th overall. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Calder Trophy winner, number 1 defenseman on our team by far. He'll get Norris Trophy votes. If you think you know anything about prospects, you don't. But, you know, if Michkov is available at 6 and people think that he's going to be this stud player and Yzerman thinks he's going to be, you know, worth the wait, you know, coming over from Russia, then moving up 3 spots, you know, use those draft picks, weaponize them. Let's move up and grab them. This one is a Red Wings one called Roster Changes. We have Veleno re-signing. We're bringing back Pius Suter. Oh my God, Ekman Larson. Are you hot? Matt Dumble? Dude, what are you doing? Ekman Larson sucks. He just got bought out. I don't want $4.5 million. He's going to be lucky to get 1. I don't want Oliver Ekman Larson. And I think, isn't he a left-hand shot defense? I don't even know if he's a left-hand shot defense, but I'm making that up. I know Matt Dumba is 4 years, $5 million. This is just as bad as the Ben Sherratt trade. He has the worst of advanced stat. He's basically Ben Sherratt. He doesn't do anything out there. And I hate the fact that people keep putting Matt Dumba in these things. I don't want him. Okay. And Jonas Korpisalo, 3 years, $4 million. He's got some pretty bad advanced stats too. And like, I would rather just go, and this is going to sound funny. I'd rather just like, give me Tristan Jerry for a year, stopgap. There's not a lot of good free agents out there. And I don't know if Korpisalo is going to be the guy for $3 million or $4 million for 3 years. No shot. Alex DeBrincat, 8 years, 7.5. I think he's going to get 8. Let's look at these trades. These are already pissing me off. We might have to end with this one. Clayton Keller for Ben Sherratt and Simon Edvinsson. That's just number 1, not going to happen. Okay. I think Arizona laughs in your face if you give this to them, because Simon Edvinsson is not worth Clayton Keller. Okay. Number 1, I don't want to trade Simon Edvinsson. Clayton Keller's an awesome player. There's no way we're going to get him though. Like for that. Okay. Alex DeBrincat for a first and a second. We went through this. I don't think that's realistic. It's going to be something more, but I think maybe if this was the trade, makes sense. Okay. This Keller one, you're going to have to cough up a lot more than Ben Sherratt and Simon Edvinsson. This would be too good to be true. They got Keller and they got DeBrincat. Now the issue that's going to pop up here, who's playing where? So this is where we're going to look at the lineup and see where everybody is. Okay. So we have Clayton Keller, Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat. That's an elite top line. We can agree on that. Raymond, Kopp, Perron, okay. Rasmussen, Veleno's not going to be third line center. I can tell you that. It would be Suter in this world. Jonathan Berggren, Fabry, Suter, Kubalik, and then Filip Zadina down there. We got Husso with Korpisalo, which I don't really like. Now this defense is atrocious. We don't need Oliver like Ekman Larson and Matt Dumba. This is the worst D pair. This must be a troll. It's the worst D pair that I think I've ever seen. You get rid of Ben Sherratt and then you add 2 of them. What are you, high? Wallman and Seider, love it. Mata with William Wallander. Wallander's not ready to play yet. So you got a problem. And he's a left-hand D, so he's not going to play right here. This defense core, brutal. I don't really know. Let's look at some of the comments. OEL isn't worth remotely close to that. And no way Arizona does that. It's exactly what I've been saying. No thanks on a lot of this. I agree. Why would we include our best prospects in a Keller trade? What is better for the long term? 5 years of Keller when we are not even cup contenders, or Edvinsson for possible 11 years, 3 entry level and possible 8-year contract. Also, this lineup is even softer than last season. Okay, this one, I disagree a little bit. Clayton Keller, he probably doesn't even know. Like, he is an elite top line player for being on the wing. So it's one of those things where I'm looking at it going, I don't think that Coyotes would even entertain just Edvinsson. And Sherratt is actually taking away from the value of this trade. I know it's something where the Arizona has to get to the cap floor, but I understand what he's saying. Edvinsson could turn into this guy that's like a Mo Seider, and I understand that, but to discount, Clayton Keller is pretty dumb. So, I mean, let's, pump the brakes on this. Clayton Keller's elite. It's just, I don't even think Edvinsson would get that trade done. Arizona declines. Detroit also declines. This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I just said. That's actually tempting, to be honest. Yeah, but again, I don't think that's going to work for either team. Even if you do it, Arizona wouldn't. I agree. Truths. I like my D big and hard. So does Bobo. now we're getting a little aggressive. Oh, that's nice. I prefer blank. Not sure if blank is a position in hockey. It should be. Hockey would have a much bigger audience. We're getting into like Pornhub levels of quotes here. What am I reading? We're still talking about a position in hockey, right? Like defenseman, right? Oh my God. Detroit passes, not giving up Edvinsson for Keller. Again, you're overvaluing your prospects. He is very good, but like you're looking at this wrong. Way too much for OEL, perhaps $2 million at most, if that. Again, I don't want him at all. I really don't want him. He's not fitting this core. He's a left-hand defenseman. We don't need that. Not enough for Cat. So DeBrincat, add Kubalik. New York first plus Kubalik would be enough for me. Thing is, would it be enough for Ottawa, right? Do they want Kubalik or do they want controllable assets? I mean, Kubalik is somebody that, scored 20 goals this year. The Red Wings could still use him, but in a logjam where you're bringing in a guy like DeBrincat, there could be a casualty. And if it's Kubalik, then fine. All right, guys, other than that, I'm going to wrap it up. Those are a lot of fun to go through. I check it out every day. You guys, if you want to have some fun, have a good laugh, maybe get some ideas and look through, kind of comment through some of them. It's really funny. Some of the, obviously you just saw a few people talking back and forth about maybe some dumb shit, but also, certain players, you get the perspective of other teams' fans and what they think of their players. And obviously none of us know anything, right? It's just fun to go through and see, would you do it? Would you not? Do you think a guy like Steve Yzerman's going to go and make this trade? You look at this, a lot of people think DeBrincat's coming to Detroit. I would love that. And I think Yzerman will take a swing like that. Calgary fans seem to think that Dan Vladar is a Detroit Red Wing for a 3rd round pick. That's non-negotiable, apparently. So there's guys like that. Obviously, that Carlson 3-way trade, super interesting. Clayton Keller for Simon Edvinsson. Would you do it, right? A lot of them are, maybe not super going to happen, but it's fun to think about. So you will see Buschy's Armchair GM, and you can rip mine apart as much as you want. Again, this isn't going to happen. I don't have any inside knowledge. I just know some of these players and who I would like to see donning the wind wheel next season, hopefully pushing for a playoff spot and making this team very, very good going into the future.